odd that that's the one team that he has come out and publicly said, I do not want to play for them. Again, maybe it's just because of,
it was literally because they had a package.
And it could be something like that. But certainly if Jimmy wants to win, which I think at this point in his career you would assume is going to be the number one priority, although he does want $50 million in the offseason. So maybe not. At least the number two priority should be winning. Not wanting to go to Memphis is a little mind-boggling because obviously they have Ja, they have Bane, they have Jaren Jackson, and they could probably make a trade for Butler if they wanted to without having to give up any of those guys. So they could be looking at a starting line, but those three plus Jimmy Butler at the 3 plus Zach Edey at the 5, that is not a team that anyone wants to go up against in the playoffs, even the number one seeded OKC Thunder. I don't think they would want to see Memphis in the playoffs in that scenario.
Except
if you're the Knicks. I mean, look, they're not in the same conference, but
here we go.
If you're the Knicks,
yeah, I guess, but
the ass whooping last night. Sorry.
All right. Knicks propaganda. Come on. Knicks talking 2025.
Yes, sir. You already see
it. But
we'll save it for later. But let's continue.
I think he could. I seen in the comments. Shout out to Dan. I see the Rockets. I do. But with the way Amon has been playing recently, I don't know if they. I don't want to say they don't need it because obviously adding Jimmy Butler is huge to pretty much any contending team, I feel like. But Amon Thompson has been playing kind of like that role, like great defender. The only thing he can't really do right now is shoot, but I mean, he's shown that's not really stopping him. He's a great rebounder, great defender, great finisher. I mean, we seen the game winner last night as well. So I don't know what the Rockets will have to give up to get Jimmy and if it's worth it in that case. So I'm not sure. I think Grizzlies, I agree with Max. Grizzlies is the best fit for Jimmy Butler. And it's funny that he's like, you know what? Nah, if I get added to this team, potentially could be a championship contender. Already are, honestly. But adding Jimmy puts him over that tier, I feel like. Nah, I don't want to go there.
Maybe Jimmy sees something that we don't. Who knows?
Nobody wants to live in Memphis, though. I feel
that's true.
Nobody wants to live in Utah.
Place. What do you mean?
I'm just saying, like basketball players.
We shouldn't hate because we got
going from Miami to Memphis. I don't know if that's his.
Well, going from Miami to anywhere is going to be a bit of a downgrade, isn't it?
True. I mean,
almost anywhere, but
that's what I'm saying.
I think for the Rockets, it almost feels like they're in less of a rush. And the one thing you got to keep in mind with Jimmy Butler is it's clear he wants an extension. He wants to get paid like a superstar again. So any team that trades for him now, you also have to think about what are the chances he's going to want to resign with you. So
I do have to disagree on the Rockets.
No trade cost, so Memphis could go make that move for him. But what teams can afford to make a move for Jimmy Butler, give up assets in that trade, and then potentially lose him either this offseason or next offseason, and then you walk away with nothing from that trade if you don't win a championship.
I agree with everything you said there, but my one thing is I don't think the Rockets are like the first thing you said about the Rockets. I don't think I think they're. I don't think they're not in a rush, but I also don't think they're in a place where they want to stand still. I think they're more in a place where they want to make a move to get a bigger star, but they also don't want to be like, what's the word for it? Like they don't want to reach. They don't want to reach deep in their pockets for it.
I mean, I don't know about the pockets thing. They were throwing out contracts to anybody.
But it's now those contracts that could enable them to make a trade because you have, the Dillon Brooks money.
What about Jimmy on the Nuggets?
You get off if you wanted to.
Wait, Jimmy on the Nuggets? I don't know how to feel about that one. I'm not gonna lie.
On the Nuggets, bro.
It just feels like
let's calm down. Let's calm.
Why it feels clunky. I'm just trying to imagine it. It doesn't. He won't play well with Jokic.
I don't even think the Nuggets are a second.
No. Dan said it. I'm questioning it. I'm just repeating what Dan said here.
That's toxic.
Well, but the Nuggets are a second apron team anyway, so they couldn't aggregate contracts in a deal to begin with, right? Or am I mistaken?
They would have to trade. They would have to trade like MPJ or something.
Yeah,
they get rid of MPJ?
That move.
Okay, I'm cool with that. Get rid of MPJ, Mr. Magnet Ball. Cool. I'm down. MPJ's put us out of games. He's put us out of series.
People are way too fast to trade MPJ. Y'all forget how good he was for that championship team, and he's still relatively.
I didn't forget, Max. I understand.
I understand he is very much a
Girl never forgets.
A passer, but I think it's shown that he can be a big contributor on a championship team.
You're misunderstanding me, Max. I'm saying I would love that swap because of how valuable MPJ is on the offensive end. MPJ had he did not miss shots. He had games where he would pull up three, contested three, on AD, on Braun. Everybody on our roster, he was just taking turns, shooting threes, step backs, getting to the paint on us, bro. He is their best, well, not best, obviously, yeah, Jokic on that team. Their second best offensive player on that team, I feel like. Shout out to Jamal Murray too, but I feel like Michael Porter Jr. at that size, the only person who is stopping MPJ and always has been is himself. Only thing in injuries, bro. I'm sorry. That I would love for them to get rid of MPJ on a hater standpoint, but he's a great player, obviously. I agree with that.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that, it's like, who else can really go get Jimmy that wants him? The Suns clearly do, but that's where the other part of this classroom session comes in. If you're an NBA player and it is clear that a team does not want you and is actively trying to kick you out the door, I feel like you shouldn't try and just stand in their way and try and, be the center of attention, aka what Bradley Beal's doing right now with that no trade contract or that no trade clause. I think if he didn't have that clause in his contract, the Butler trade probably would have happened already. But now the Suns are having to drag like 2, 3, 4, 5 teams into these conversations, trying to find a spot for Beal. And then, obviously you got to move picks around to different teams. It just gets so much more complicated when Beal can literally just dictate exactly where he goes, literally due to his contract. Thanks, Washington Wizards.
Facts.
Do we have any more thoughts on this Jimmy saga? Obviously, again, he is currently suspended indefinitely, likely played his last game as a Miami Heat, but I suppose you never know. Trades sometimes fall through, so I suppose he could be back at some point post-deadline. But do you guys think it's even a possibility at this point? Like, would it just be untenable for Butler to come back again from this suspension?
I mean, at this point, I don't think so, because it looks like they're looking for anything you're not doing right. Like, obviously, yeah, he left practice. That's a big thing. I mean, he's done it before, or he's gotten into practice things before.
He was getting benched for Hayward Highsmith, so I think I would have the same reaction.
Yeah, I just think I don't know there's any fixing to it. I think we might see a situation if he doesn't get traded. I mean, we could talk about him potentially them sitting him for the rest of the season. I think it could get to that point, if I'm being honest. So we'll see what happens, though.
Absolutely, I think we will. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks. Something else that is coming up on the NBA span, I believe Thursday on TNT, they will be announcing the All-Star reserves. Obviously, The starters were announced on TNT last week. Just a quick recap if you missed it. Eastern Conference starters, I believe, were Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson in the backcourt. Giannis Antetokounmpo, obviously, in the front court, alongside Jason Tatum and Karl Anthony Towns, making his first appearance as an All-Star starter. I believe that Jalen Brunson hasn't been a starter before, but I believe Mitchell, Tatum, and Giannis have all been starters before. Out west, you have, I believe, Jokic in the front court, along with LeBron and Kevin Durant, some veterans holding it down there. And then backcourt is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and not Luka Doncic because he has missed too many games due to injury. Stephen Curry will take, I say, his spot. I think we could all agree that if Luka had stayed healthy, he would have been a lock to start alongside SGA in the backcourt for the West. But obviously, get well soon, Luka, he's still out. Steph will be in there for, like the 11 billionth time he's been a starter alongside Durant and LeBron.
Yeah, but we do have some breaking news. So shout out to Caden. You can come up real quick and break it, Caden.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Special guest. What's up, my man?
You're muted if you're talking.
I was trying to find what they announced earlier. Real? They were announcing the Are we all looking at the same thing?
Huh?
Are we all looking at the same thing? Breaking news?
Yes. I'm Caden. I can't hear you if you're talking, by the way. I think
we can't hear you. Come back.
Yeah. But it looks like what Caden is trying to say is the Kings are open to trading De'Aaron Fox.
Oh, my God.
News.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The Kings are officially blowing it up.
Yeah,
they're
just
blowing it up.
Well, okay, they're not officially blowing it up yet. They said they're open to it.
Yeah, they're open to talks to potentially deal All-Star De'Aaron Fox ahead of February 6th trade. Whoa, ahead of the trade deadline is absolutely crazy. There will be plenty of suitors, but it's believed that Fox has a target destination in mind. He said he wants to go to the Los Angeles Lakers. No, I'm just playing.
Imagine that's crazy. You almost got me with that one too.
You don't got to move far, Fox. You don't got to move far. Just let me chill.
Yeah. I don't think that's happening.
No, I'm just trying.
Let's see.
Yeah. It seems like De'Aaron Fox is officially on the market now, which is kind of crazy. Because I know there were rumors a couple weeks ago that like maybe he would be, maybe he wouldn't be. But then the Kings fired Mike Brown, and then they went on their little win streak with Doug Christie. They went back to around 500, playing good ball. So I feel like that kind of quieted the talk now. But seemingly out of nowhere, again, despite the recent winning, seems like the Kings are open to a move.
Yeah, I'm actually very surprised by this. Well, yeah, I'm actually surprised by this. I mean, the Kings their recent games, they've been playing a lot better than what they were under Mike Brown. I don't know. I feel like they were kind of figuring things out. I mean, Sabonis just had if I'm not mistaken, just had like an 18, 23-point game last night. So I'm a little bit surprised about why now. Like, what changed between 2 days ago and like 24 hours, like the last 24 hours, like what changed? Was it De'Aaron Fox saying I don't want to just kind of be below average, or what's going on? Because they're climbing the rank, like they're climbing the West again. So
they're solidly in the mix for a top 6 seed in the West. I'm not going to sit here and say they're a favorite or anything, but I would say they're certainly in the mix. And so it's like the timing is very peculiar because you would assume that this probably would have come out weeks ago to coincide the Mike Brown firing, which would signify larger scale changes, but. Usually when you fire a coach, bring in a new one and start playing better, that's not the time to say, oh, we're trading one of our best players.
I think this is the time where people are kind of signaling that big changes are going to Sacramento. I think it's ultimately going to end up with him and probably Sabonis being traded. I think they're going to look for some draft capital going into this draft, and I think they're going to restart over. I think that's their only option is to restart. Because think about it. Do you want to be
contract?
Do you want to be in the middle of the pact for your championship run was supposed to be with DeMar DeRozan and all three?
Well, I don't think they have much of a choice right now.
I mean,
unless you are going to trade both Fox and Sabonis for pennies on the dollar.
It's not going to be pennies on the dollar, but they're going to take their time in trading them because they're going to be in their prime for a little while longer. But I think honestly, I don't think the timing is peculiar, but I do think the way that they're going about it is because it seems like they just fired Mike Brown and then they're just, I don't know. It's very weird to me. Maybe they both get traded. Maybe only one of them gets traded, but something's going on in Sacramento behind the scenes that we're not really. Wow, I can't speak today, but something's going on back there. I don't know what it is, but the business side, somebody's disagreeing with somebody else, and it's not looking good.
This makes me wonder if maybe if they actually are trying to not like tank, but if they're really not trying to win games right now, and maybe that was kind of the crux behind the Mike Brown firing was almost them saying, okay, we really do want to go in a different direction and kind of do what Omar said, which is kind of begin to start over, get these players out the door, tank for a year or two, get some better draft capital, rebuild our young core. And then Doug Christie came in and they started winning too many games for their liking, and now they're having to move De'Aaron Fox prematurely. I mean, I don't know. That doesn't sound logical, but
I mean, listen, they fired
De'Aaron Fox doesn't sound logical in and of itself.
They fired Monty Williams because he kept playing Killian Hayes, so. Until they physically had to release Killian Hayes for him to stop playing Killian Hayes.
Yeah.
That one was funny because he was starting one day and then he was released the next. So
yeah, for me, I don't know. This, like I said, this is shocking, bro. We're reacting to this live. Shout out. I mean, first episode here, we got breaking news, which is absolutely insane. Yeah, I think the Kings have just been doing a lot of questionable things. Like, I guess we can talk about like what teams y'all think are suitors for De'Aaron Fox. I think Omar said the Spurs. I think that's if the Spurs can get Fox, bro. I think that ups their timetable. Like
And
a couple years.
I think the Kings would be interested in. I know this sounds. Listen, you guys got to bear with me here. I know they just got him in the draft, and I know they're
not trading Castleton, bro, or Stefan.
I mean,
Castle.
that's probably what Sacramento would probably be interested in any trade, considering
that.
De'Aaron Fox and nobody else.
They're not trading the
They're
potential
only,
rookie of the year.
But let's be honest, their assets rely on like.
They have a lot of picks too.
They do have a lot of picks as well. They do have a lot.
Also, keep in mind, De'Aaron Fox is he only has 2 more years left on his deal. He's getting paid $35 million right now, so that whoever trades for him would have to make about $35 million to match in that deal. And then next year he's making a flat 37. And beyond that, he's an unrestricted free agent. So I would imagine whatever team he goes to now would try and work out an extension with him this offseason to try and keep
Chris Paul onto the next team that he gets released by.
How much is the contract for this season?
This season is 35, roughly 34.8.
Oh, yeah, that's a contract. I mean, it's a good one. It's De'Aaron Fox, but and he is only 27 right now. These are his best years. He is in the prime. Oh yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like the aprons, right? There's certain teams who just can't trade for him unless they're sending out the exact same amount of money.
Yeah,
right?
there are teams that can't. I forget if the Nuggets are.
I think that's how teams are going to start operating.
I know there are some teams that cannot aggregate contracts in a deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how teams are going to start moving in general. I think that if there's like some space, there's going to be some space, but I think some teams, like in the way that the CBA is moving and in the way that like the whole NBA seems to start moving, like, I mean, the only reason why I recognize this is because the Knicks have been doing this since like two years prior to this actually coming into place. So I'm starting to see teams kind of aggregate contracts exactly kind of like money for money, even if they don't particularly need to. So I think that's just going to be like kind of like a sudden practice that we start to see, that it's going to be like contract for contract just to make things even and easier for front offices.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I feel like for the most part, like if you can get a deal done, I don't know if every situation they're going to be thinking, hey, I can't sign this guy because the contract's not matching if I want to make a trade in the future. I think it just still depends. Like CBA is so new just in general. It's hard for, like you said, it's hard for teams to figure out what they should prepare
do for it.
I mean, yeah,
it could be screwed.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but it's like, how much preparing can you actually do? Like, you're still gonna have to sign players. You're still gonna want to retain your stars, so that's gonna cost money regardless. It's just one of those things that you're just gonna have to play around. Like, I don't know if you can be like, oh, I'm not gonna sign this guy just because of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I guess my question for the Kings right now is, what is the direction they're going? Is it more of we're going to blow this up and we're going to start over? Or is this a retool? Is this them saying we want to retool around?
I don't see how you retool around.
Like, are they looking for exclusively young players in capital, or are they trying to get a different running mate for Sabonis and try and maximize his prime?
I mean, if we're being honest, Sabonis is the hub. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
We're talking about Sabonis. Well, not y'all in tune, but people think of Sabonis as if he's not like one of like the main guy. Like, he dominates the rebounds, he dominates assists. Only thing he doesn't dominate only thing he doesn't dominate in his scoring is because he's more of a playmaker. Like, he can score though. That's the thing. He can go out there and score, but he facilitates to everybody else on this team. Like, don't get me wrong, that's not me underplaying what De'Aaron Fox does. But if they are trading Fox, I could see them going the retool method. Like, it's possible. It's not like this is a whole rebuild situation. It could be like, let me retool, see what we can get for Fox, because things are just what they've been for the last, since he's been drafted. I mean, they haven't really had a bunch of traction in the playoffs. They made a playoff run, or they just made the playoffs. I don't remember how far they went.
State to 7. I'd call that a mini run.
True.
I think it's probably going to be harder.
That's their highlight, though.
Like, I think that's part of the reason why they're doing it as well.
I mean, true, but that was their own decision. Like, they
I mean, yeah, you can. I mean, yeah, that was their own decision, but they thought, in their defense, they thought DeMar DeRozan was going to be better. Like, there's an infinite amount of like things that you could say to defend or disregard what they're actually doing.
I will say, I was one dude who always knew this would happen with DeMar DeRozan. It's not even that DeMar's bad; it just does not. I just didn't think that was the be-all, go-all move for the Kings to make them a better team.
But this is also what I've kind of been saying about Philly. Like, remember, I think I came into this chat. Was it this chat room the other day? And I was saying that, like, they were talking about how what's going on with Philly? How come Philly's not doing much better? I was like, Earl's my witness. I've been saying this since the beginning. There's too many cooks in the kitchen. Maybe
well,
we're
to be fair,
we're
it's kind of the opposite. There's too many cooks who burnt themselves in the kitchen. Now they don't have any chefs, so you can't.
And that's
meals.
in Sacramento.
I'm saying that's literally the 76ers. Like they have so many injuries that there's nobody out there playing. They can't build any type of consistency. That's the thing that sucks about them. But you are right. I mean, you did say stuff about Philly too. So
I just can't believe if you're Sacramento that they signed DeMar DeRozan. This front office. I don't believe there's been any like front office or owner regime changes in the last 8 months that I can remember. I can't believe that you go and sign DeMar DeRozan in the offseason thinking that is going to make you a championship contender and then pivot from that so quickly halfway through a season where, again, you're not a championship contender, but you're not a bad team either. I just can't see them being like, oh, we're all in June, and then by January of the next year being like, actually, we're wiping our hands of all this. We're going to sell. Like, what did you really expect?
They did nothing.
I'm sorry. I wanted to come up real quick and ask a quick question. Do you guys think that Jimmy Butler gets traded first, or do you think Fox kind of goes and kind of sets the market that way? What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Oh, that's a good question. I think this might put a pause on Jimmy Butler because if teams think they can have a chance, any percent chance of going for Fox and getting him, they're going to wait till Fox is dealt before Jimmy Butler gets pushed out. So I think like people are waiting, like Jimmy Butler was the pause in the market right now. The new pause in the market is definitely De'Aaron Fox. So I say Fox probably gets dealt first.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, Earl. I think for the Miami Heat's sake, they better hope that they get this Jimmy Butler deal done soon. But honestly, it might be too late because now, like you said, that Fox is on the market. I'm sure there's probably some teams that have been trying to engage, and maybe not even Jimmy Butler trades, but just other tangential trades around the league that are kind of frustrated with the fact that Butler hasn't been moved yet and he kind of hasn't set the trade market yet. So the fact that Fox is now the new kid on the block, teams might just go flock to him and just say, hey, Miami's taking too long. We're going to go try and get this deal done. And then when the Fox deal gets done, that can set the domino effect for everything else. So maybe this might be, honestly, Miami having waited too long to make this deal. I mean, I say wait. We don't know what they had on the table or what they didn't. But I think Fox definitely becomes the new number one trade priority, considering he's younger. He's on a better contract. I would say he's a better player right now in the NBA than Jimmy Butler is, with all due respect to Butler. So this might not spell good news for Miami. I'll put it that way.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here because I can see I kind of see it going either way in my opinion, but I'm gonna push for a little bit of Jimmy's side here because since both of y'all got De'Aaron Fox, I think it may be a little bit. I know this is gonna sound crazy. This is gonna sound insane, but it's gonna actually be probably a little easier to move Jimmy. I feel like there may be. I gotta take that back. I gotta take that back.
Again, maybe
I gotta take that back real quick because that didn't even make sense on the way out. So let me just hold on.
I mean, Jimmy has the advantage of there have been trades that have been discussed already. Like
there have been trades that have been discussed already. Yes, but now I also think the fact of the matter is that kind of Miami is kind of renewing themselves a little bit. And kind of going into trade talks that are saying, okay, the price, we understand the price probably got to come down a little bit because Jimmy's a little bit demanding and yada, yada, yada.
True. Yeah.
So, all right, maybe we're going to go into this expecting a little bit less than what we were asking for before in terms of picks or in terms of players or in terms of quality of players. Like, we'll see.
Caden, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah. What do you got?
Oh, no, I'm 100% going to let you guys talk. I was going to kind of have a follow-up question of what is kind of like the best destination for Fox? And my follow-up question to that would be, if the Spurs do get De'Aaron Fox, are they possibly a team to look out for in the Western Conference playoffs this upcoming season?
Yes.
Yes.
1,000% yes. Not even a question about it. They're an instant threat as soon as they get De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah. But I'll throw out a name here. I think this is a team that absolutely needs scoring, who needs shooting, who's already kind of young and on the rise. I think if Orlando Magic could make that money work, I think they would be very scary with De'Aaron Fox because right now, per Omar's prediction, I will say Omar predicted them to drop. They have dropped the ball in the last couple weeks. I don't think that means they're a bad team, but certainly
it's not that they're a bad team. I never said. Hold on, let's clarify something.
No,
I never ever said they were a bad team. I never said anything like that. I just said they would fall down a few positions for the next couple of weeks because of injuries and stuff like that.
You said they're a horrible team. They won't ever be good. No, it's fine.
Yeah, of course.
I think if that team could add De'Aaron Fox onto it without giving up a core of like Jalen Suggs, Franz, and Powell, I feel like that's kind of your three guys that they're committed to building around. If you can add Fox to that backcourt, that is really just. They're a great defensive team. They have been kind of for a little while now since Jamal Mosley took over. If you can put an offensive plug and play guy like Fox in there, who's still in the prime of his career, and you can try and he can be like the pseudo veteran in there. Obviously, he's only 27, but he's played longer than Powell. He's played longer than Franz. He's played longer than Suggs. Kind of having him as the nucleus, like the run. I can't call him the nucleus. Powell's the nucleus, but a very valid running mate for Powell. I think that would be very scary.
Yeah,
I think the biggest thing the Magic are missing is an elite point guard. If they find a way to get him, I think the Magic are definitely in a. I think that puts them in a different tier, man. I think it puts them. I think it puts them in the Knicks / Bucks / Knicks Bucks / Cleveland type tier.
Shall we look at the standings? We're head and shoulders above the Bucks.
I'm just saying, like, as far as like a team, like I'm just talking about in general, like teams who can compete, like who are built and who can compete. And think about it, Paolo. How old is Paolo? 25,
23.
Yeah, no, it puts them at the.
He was drafted 3 years ago. So.
Yeah, 23.
Upper echelon
Fox is
of
27.
the Eastern Conference,
and we're talking about for years. Like, we're not talking about just right now because I guarantee you, pen and paper, once he will get traded, give it a couple weeks, extension would be signed. Like, that's how fast they would lock it up.
It solidifies them as a top 5 team in the Eastern Conference, no matter what. Yeah, that's what it does for sure.
I would say top 4.
The one thing that I'll disagree with is, unfortunately, they're going to have to trade one of the 3 of Jalen Suggs, Paolo Banchero, or Franz Wagner. It's gonna happen, and it's probably going to have to be. I mean, no, they're not going to trade Paolo. I'm just saying it's probably going to have to be, for the sake of conversation, it's going to have to be one of those 3. And most likely, what's going to be is Jalen Suggs.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like
they have enough. Suggs, mad if I lose Suggs?
I mean, money wise. Let's talk money.
No, I'm just saying, like, are we mad if we lose Suggs, though? I'm happy.
Right now, they could trade. Again, I'm sure it would have to take a lot more draft capital for this to work. Yeah. But right now, they could trade Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Jonathan Isaac, and that basically works out right.
Bro, that's not going to work for the Sacramento Kings.
Fair. I don't.
No, that's not going to work.
Money-wise, money.
Money don't matter because they don't got no quality players.
I agree with you. Look.
I respect the shit out of Jalen Suggs.
Dan, I agree with you. I'm not saying that, but I'm just talking about, like, no disrespect to Suggs, but I'm saying, but if it's Fox or Suggs, I think we're all taking Fox, though. But in any other aspect, like, Suggs is a great defender. I agree with you. I didn't mean to disrespect him like that, but I just meant, like, if you had a chance to upgrade to Fox, then I'm doing it. Depending on what it
depends what you have to give up, right? If you could flip,
and it's probably going to have to be Jalen Suggs. My prediction is, if he gets traded to the Magic, it's going to have to take Suggs and some people behind them. I understand that money may say otherwise, but unfortunately, what's probably going to rule the deal in this situation is probably the picks involved. So, no, the Franz is staying put.
Magic should trade anybody on that roster but Paolo and Franz. If you can keep somehow, if it works, I'm not saying it does because it's De'Aaron Fox we're talking about. But if there's any world where you can keep those 2 and somehow get Fox, I like the idea of that being a big 3. I like it.
Let me just read off some names on this Magic team that I think could factor into a trade. I mean, you've got Mo Wagner, who's on an expiring contract, but he's got an $11 million.
I think he stays.
Sorry, no, he's not expiring right now. He's got one more year left on, but he's $11 million. That's a decent young player. Wendell Carter's also making. I mean, he's on an extension, but Wendell's young.
Yeah. You could talk about Wendell Carter Jr. inside of this deal.
Batadze on one of the probably better contracts in all of basketball. He's locked up for the next 3 years at a descending deal. He's making $9 million this year, $8 million next year, $7.5 million the next year. And he's only 25. You've got Anthony
Trae Young for for
He's got
Fox.
3 years left on his deal. You've got Jet Howard. You've got Tristan Da Silva. So if you just throw in Contavious Caldwell-Pope as kind of like the guy to, because he's got a $21 million contract. If you just throw him in as a money guy, you could fit in 3 young guys around that and throw some picks in if you're Orlando.
The Spurs will outbid the shit out of that. That's the point.
Yeah, honestly, the Spurs have the best chance.
The Spurs absolutely could. They could.
No, they have
I'm saying, I understand.
Max, if you don't mind.
My bad.
What's up?
Oh, I was just asking, can you pull up the Spurs contracts real quick, Max?
Oh, yeah, I will. But yeah, you go ahead, Omar.
Okay. Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, there's no way in hell, man. I'm sorry. There's no way in hell that, like, we talk about this and we understand that
don't give him a point guard.
Certain players are not going to get traded because of certain other players inside of a deal. So it's just based in the players that you're talking about, Max. I don't think it works. I just don't think it works.
Picks. It would definitely take picks in there for sure. But again, I've got the Spurs payroll up here. I'll read off some names.
You know who that may work with? Like a Jonas Valanciunas. That's who that could work with, probably. Like,
because it's expiring, you're saying?
Because it's expiring deals, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. The Magic don't really have expiring contracts. I will say that. A lot of their guys. I mean, I don't think
you
their guys
could talk about.
They're also not expiring.
You could talk about Wendell Carter Jr. as much as you want, but you're probably gonna have to throw in Jalen Suggs for that deal just because he's more consistent and he plays a lot. Wendell Carter arguably barely plays.
It all depends on what the Kings want. If they want established players right now, the Magic can offer them that. But again, if they want young assets, you go to the Spurs and you see you've got Devin Vassell, who's making $30 million basically this year right now, and then he's on basically $27 million for the next 5 years. So he's locked up with an extension. You've got Keldon Johnson. I know that he's been thrown in a lot of trade conversations. He's only 25 right now, making $19 million this year. So that could be a player that the Kings maybe say, we'll take a flyer on him. If you want expiring money, you have Chris Paul. If you want to throw him in there just to fill salary, you can. Trey Jones is an expiring $9 million contract. And then you get down to like the Jeremy Sohans of the world, the Malachi Branhams, the Julian Champagnes. None of them bad guys, but I think the Spurs offer would mostly come from draft capital, right? They have a lot of draft capital that they could throw in there. So if the Kings are looking for picks, you can definitely go to San Antonio, find a way to make the money match, and then reap in probably 3 or 4 good value first-round picks. But if they're just looking for players, I think Orlando probably has a more compelling case for young guys that are on good contracts right now. And that don't even include Jalen Suggs. Again, depends what Sacramento wants.
Yeah. I mean, I get it's probably what Sacramento wants, but I mean, what Sacramento wants is probably going to want more than Jonathan Isaac and you know.
I mean, you don't think Goga Bitadze, Anthony Black, Cole Anthony, KCP, and like 2 or 3 firsts would be enough to get it done? I mean, listen, maybe not. Maybe
probably.
Not.
I mean, realistically, probably, but.
We can't hear you.
I don't know. I would have to see it.
Yeah, I was saying, appreciate that, Max. I was saying that I don't even think it's a question of does it work, because obviously it works. I just think it's more so we all can agree there's other teams out there that can throw better players with same contract wise at the Kings to make a deal done. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But the Spurs have I think they have, I don't know what their pick situations like this year, but I do know they have a lot of picks in general. So maybe we see a 7-8 pick first round pick. I'm just talking, but
no way. That would be way too
how much did Rudy Gobert go for?
He went for 5, and I think everyone admits that that's an overpay.
I know, I agree, but I'm just saying, like, if it's the Spurs, they've hit on Wemby. I'm just saying, yeah. I'm just saying, Max, it could be 5, 6, 7.
I don't think you see more than 5. I don't think.
How much did Mikal go for?
4, but no players. I think if you throw players in, unless you're literally not throwing any good players in, I don't think it goes above 5.
Young Bogdanovich was in that deal.
Yeah, but I mean, the Nets don't. Respectfully, that's just an expiring contract, and that's not a valuable.
Yeah,
player.
It's like I don't know. I think the point is they have the picks to overpay if they wanted to. Is what
true.
I'm thinking.
They do.
I don't. But what's another team besides the Spurs, y'all think? And then we can move on to the next.
Do you think Minnesota would want to go all in? Do you think Minnesota blows up? Just not tries to keep Anthony Edwards.
I think they have their point guard of the future already.
In Dillingham?
Yeah.
I
mean, even Terrence Shannon. Let's not forget that man. That man.
I mean,
great.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, He's gonna be good, but is he still getting is he getting his minutes right now? Like, are they playing him?
I mean, I think
Not saying they have to trade him. There's still a world you can keep both of them though. But I don't know. I think
I'm just throwing that out there because that feels like a team that like now they're a little bit directionless, and it's like if you're kind of getting scared that like Gobert's getting older, maybe you lose Julius Randle like sooner. You know, it's like, oh, let's just go get the Aaron Fox right now. Try and have a really good year this year.
Yeah, I don't even think the Sacramento Kings would take.
What about
What was that, Omar?
I don't think the Sacramento Kings would take Julius Randle at this
point.
No,
I'm saying like they trade like Jaden McDaniels, Dillingham, maybe like a Mike Conley contract, a bunch of picks, and just say we're all in on like this team of Fox and Edwards, Julius Randle, and
that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. I would consider that.
Hey, Sabonis might be a good leader for Julius Randle to learn. I'm not even lying. No, it's Julius Randle. No, I said Sabonis might be a good leader for Julius Randle to learn under. That's what I said. Like Julius a good mentor.
Learn.
I'm just saying. It's funny you're saying that, Omar, because you were really glazing Julius.
I was blinded by the bias. I was blinded by the next bias
on this podcast.
Earl about to troll and rubbing his chin. Yeah, that's kind of my tail sign. If you see me go.
Pleased him so much in fantasy last year. Yep.
No, but I'll say, I mean, we can kind of move on to our next thing. I know we talked about Jimmy Butler, but to like in that conversation, we did hear like the Bradley Beal news. Bradley Beal is the most powerful man in the NBA right now. NBA? Yeah, you know what? We want to put you in this package, Bradley Beal. How do you feel about going to Chicago? No, I'm good. I'll move on. Then he goes in the media. He'll be like, no, I'm playing basketball. I pretty much hold all the cards. I'm going to go out there and hoop. Like, Bradley Beal, really, he's showing the power of no trade clause. If you're going to give that to a player, make sure you know what you're getting into and make sure you know what you're trading for. Because when you're done with him,
sorry, Wizards,
it doesn't matter unless he's done with you, respectfully.
He did say he was willing to waive it for Miami, but I think that was before.
No, he said he wasn't, though.
Yeah, I think it was.
He wasn't willing to waive it. More. He said he wasn't willing to waive it for Miami, though.
Oh, okay.
It seems like he really wants to be in Phoenix. Like, I mean, fair enough. Like, you know, this is year 2 of their kind of big 3 experiment. And so maybe he feels like, you know, I came here to try and win a championship and I'm committed to that, which fair. But it really does not seem like that. There's not even a team where Beal is like, oh, yeah, you know what? I would go here. He's like, nah, I want to be here, even though it's kind of clear they don't want me anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I think Bradley Beal, he's like he feels like he's comfortable in Phoenix. He likes the vibes, likes the environment, likes the team, and he feels like he doesn't want to be the expense. He doesn't want to be the player that you trade for to go win yourself a championship. Right. He wants to be a part of the original plan. Yeah, he doesn't want to do that anymore. Like, he got traded from the Wizards, boom. He doesn't want to be traded from Phoenix Suns. Like, he waived his no trade clause to go to the Suns. He's not going to waive it to go to the Bulls. Like, a part of me is like, okay, I understand that. Because it's not necessarily all Bradley Beal's fault. I just think they shouldn't have traded for him in general. So now you got to live with that. Suns, y'all wanted to trade for him. You wanted to trade for me. You're going to keep me is Bradley Beal's attitude right now. So, hey, that's the power. Correct me if I'm wrong, Max. That's the point of no trade clause, right?
That is true. I mean, I guess we can't be terribly mad for, you know, just abiding by his contract. But, gosh, it's a bad look for everyone involved right now.
No, it is crazy, though. But, yeah, I agree. That's kind of all I have on that subject. What do we got next?
To wrap up this podcast, our first one live on Playback. Again, thank you for everyone who is tuned in live right now. We very much appreciate that. We're gonna go. We're gonna go over our predictions, I believe, for the All-Star reserves. Because again, they will be announced in a couple days. I believe there's 7 per conference. Going to be 7 East, 7 West, so 14 players. Obviously, we know who's starting now. Who do y'all think is gonna go? We'll start with the Eastern Conference first. Who do y'all think is gonna fill up the East? I'll just throw 2 names out there that I think. You know, assuming we're going to start with the backboard, I think Melo has to be in there, and I do think Kate has to be there.
Wait, Rising Star game.
Hey, you see
the Rising Star game rosters were announced.
Oh yeah, we can talk about that too. Let's give our predictions and then go over the roster.
Okay, but let me look up that.
For me, I know you named 2 guards. I'm gonna throw a third one out there. Trae Young, man. Yeah, he is leading the league in assists, man. He's taking what he has on that property franchise, Atlanta Hawks. I'm just playing Daniel. I just gotta add some season into it. He's taking what he can on that Hawks team, playing without a co-all-star. He's putting in work. Shout out to Jalen Johnson, though. It just fits my narrative. He's putting in work, bro. Every single night I see him play. I mean, he has the most 20-plus assist games, I think, in a season. I'm making that up, but it sounds right. I don't know if anybody else has done that. Sounds crazy. When I went to see him play, he had 20 assists. Like, the way he plays basketball, bro, people are so scared of him taking that three. It allows him to create easy offense. And I'll say this again. He can make any center look good. His playmaking ability reminds me of, like, elevated James Harden. Like, on those teams, James Harden could make any center look like an all-star. It's just a fact. Dwight Howard, Zubac, like even those years, Dwight Howard was kind of now he wasn't prime Dwight Howard. I'll just say that. No disrespect to Dwight Howard, he helped us win the championship. But Zubac this year, I mean, look at Clint Capella. Clint Capella is probably the most clumsy. He's the Michael Jordan of Jackson Hayes of centers. That's my comp of Clint Capella. Like he's mid. Best, but there's worse players like Jackson Hayes who live in the world, so I can't say he's the worst. So if he's able to do that, let that dude look good. I think Trae Young deserves to be an all-star game. He's playing good basketball. Yeah, that's my agenda for the day.
I know, it is a little guard heavy, but I think Dame Lillard also has to be in there. I guess you could say Cade Cunningham is kind of a forward. If you slot Cade as like a forward, then you have three guards with LaMelo, Trae Young, and Dame Lillard. It's just too hard to choose between the three of them. I think you could realistically fit all of them in there and then just say, Cade Cunningham, you're now the all-star backup small forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's any forwards. Oh, yeah, Evan Mobley.
Yeah, I think you got to throw Mobley in there. As a backup.
Who else? Who's another forward in the East we're thinking?
Franz?
Maybe Pascal.
Oh, yeah, Pascal. Pascal, let me look at his average.
It's all right. I mean,
I feel like Pascal, he's just not flashy, so nobody talks about him.
Bam, yeah. Easily remove Jalen Brunson. LOL, you wish.
I think that
he's just Matt Trae Young's.
Pascal this year, 20 points, 7.4 assists. I mean, 7.4 rebounds.
Trae Young's going to be reserved,
shooting 41% from threes. I mean,
I think that's going to be LaMelo and Trae. I just hope they don't choose Dame again.
That's reserved numbers.
Yeah.
And they're fifth seed, right?
Yeah, I think Paolo and Franz are too injured to put them on the team. Unfortunately, I think they would both be all-stars if they were healthy. But
yeah, Paolo definitely will be a starter. I mean, well, he'd be close to it. There would have been arguments about it also.
Yeah, you definitely could have made an argument for Paolo starting, but I think he's just missed too much time. I think Franz has missed too much time. So if you throw them in there, throw Bam in there, he's got Siakam. One more name I will
Bam over Pascal though.
What was that?
I mean, Bam's putting up 15.8, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 27 from three. Pascal's putting up 27.4 and 3.4 assists with 41 from three. I just don't think the Pacers get talked about anything in a positive light. Maybe that's why no one's talking about Pascal this year.
Fair. I mean, I think Siakam. I'm not gonna say he's had a better season than Halliburton, but the East don't like stacking guards. The East are two stacking guards to let Halliburton in over some of the names ahead of him. So I think if one Pacer does get in, it's probably Siakam.
Yeah, I agree with that. It'd probably be Siakam, respectfully. Like, he's having a good season. Now, if they put Tyrese over Siakam, we got a problem. And they put Tyrese over Trae Young, then I'm going to crash out. Respectfully.
What if the 76ers making him? Does Tyrese...
Maxey. Okay. Maxey has been the only 76er I see actually going out there and clocking in for work. Like, he actually seems like he enjoys the game, too. Not saying other guys on that team don't.
He definitely plays for the balance.
Oh, wow. Yes, bro. His 26.6 a game, 6 assists, 3.5 rebounds, and about 34% from three. I mean, 26 points a game. I mean, that's man, they have a guard problem in the East.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, because then who do you take out? Is Dame not an all-star then?
I think his Dame's time.
Might be out. I think he might be out, Max. Yeah. I mean, the numbers why.
I mean, listen, I think it's going to be Maxey by default, unfortunately. I think he was just like one of the lower rated guards in the East there. I think Trae will just make it by like unfortunately, I think it's going to be like a slither. But
you have to add the slither in?
I mean, dude, yes, because it's going to be really close to Dame, let's be honest. I mean, Dame got a lot of votes. What do you want me to say?
Well, the bench does. The votes don't matter for bench. No.
Okay. Then I've been calculating this wrong.
I believe it's just coach and player.
Okay.
Then
then Trey has very little chance. I
think
say.
Trey,
Would you rather
LaMelo,
have
and
Dame on
Maxey
your team or
probably all
Trey?
get in.
I mean,
and then
I
you
would
have-
rather have Trey. I literally told you I would rather have Trey be on my bench than Dame. I would rather have.
I think maybe Dame. That feels wrong because Dame's had a very good season, but you can't have all guards.
I mean, Trey has been open. That's why I'm saying it, Dan.
Like, how are we not gonna put in our best assist player in the NBA?
Right.
How is he not in the All-Star game? I'm just saying, dominating at that.
Well, then okay. Well, I'll
Dominating, but the record is 22-23.
Just like-
That's not dominating.
Just like Sabonis should be in the All-Star game, which we'll
I
get
was
to that.
just about to say, if we want to move to the West, is Sabonis an All-Star because he's leading?
He
in
should
rebounds?
absolutely be an All-Star.
100%.
No doubt
I
about
agree
it.
with that one.
It should be Sabonis, AD,
Wemby.
who's another?
Yeah, Wemby should be there.
Those three should be like the forward slash well, they're centers. Never mind. Yeah, those three should
There's
for
no
sure.
centers anymore. It's just
No,
forwards
true.
and guards.
I think
Those
LaMelo's
three
gonna.
100% should be locked.
If we're talking about full East reserves, I gotta say it's gonna be probably like LaMelo, and I mean, beat y'all
Yeah,
twice,
he
Omar
is.
Hush. We own y'all, brother. You want to look at that record one more time? Is it like 7-16 against us or something?
We're talking about
Like,
this year, right?
I mean, no, he didn't beat us this year. They beat us once this year.
Twice.
Twice?
Or maybe it was 3 times. It's definitely at least twice. But anyways, continue what you were about to say, Max.
Yeah, I think the East is very guard heavy. The West, on the other hand, is very forward heavy.
Mhm.
I mean, do we think how many All-Stars do we give the Thunder? Is J-Dub an All-Star?
Not over Ant, though. We even talk about Ant.
Ant's got to be in
starter.
there. I would say Booker still has to be in there. I think he's still playing at an All-Star level.
I mean, do we throw anybody from the Rockets? I mean, they're the second seed. If we're talking about, because I know how they do. They're gonna do. If you have a high, I'm sure they'll put somebody. You know what I mean?
I mean, how can you gonna put
I don't know though.
Van
I don't
Vliet?
know.
You gonna put Jalen?
No. Definitely not Van Vliet.
I guess Sengun. Sengun could make it. Sengun could definitely make it.
I mean,
He could
Jalen
be the
Green,
last
21
forward
points
class
this
center on there.
season. Sengun is putting up.
I think if you could definitely argue Sengun should be on there. You know, you've got your Anthony Edwards.
Jaron
Jaren Jackson's got to be on there. Jaren Jackson absolutely has.
Oh
to be
yeah.
on there.
You know what? Oh man, there's a lot of forwards again.
Well, you know what? You could say Ja. You could say Memphis gets Ja, and that's.
Oh yeah, bro.
I feel bad though because Jaren Jackson is playing like an All-Star this year.
The West is, but all I know is my boy AD is secured. I'm gonna crash out.
Well,
AD's not.
I was borderline voting AD.
I'm not
starter.
watching
I think
it. I'm
AD
not
could
watching
make
the
it
game.
starting.
I'm not watching the
Wait,
game.
I just wanna point this out real quick.
Should have been a starter.
Can I
Bron
emphasize
there.
comments on here by any chance? Is there a way to like bring up comments onto the screen?
No, I don't
No.
think there is. But
Okay.
let's finish the All-Star predictions, and then you can respond to that comment before we get out of here.
All right, fine.
Do we have?
I have it right here. I just can't wait to just put it out there.
Do we have any other mentions for All-Star bench for the West? I mean, does Harden get in?
Jimmy
Got the
Butler.
Clippers playing pretty well. Do you give it a Harden?
It's so. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't see, bro. It's so many. This year, I feel like there's a lot of deserving All-Stars, and it's not as certain as it's been the last couple of years, which I guess is a good thing.
Oh,
But at the
absolutely.
same time,
more competition, more players.
People
playing
are
at a
going to
lower
be
level.
really upset, but that's just the cost, bro. It's the cost.
Yeah, I think Harden is a potential. Other than that, again, if we're saying Luka, we forgot about Kyrie. Kyrie's an
I was
All-Star.
just about to say, what's Kyrie doing?
Yes,
this
Cat
year?
is a
Kyrie's gotta be in
starter.
there.
Yeah.
Cat and Brunson are starting.
I think if you're looking at the West backup guards, it's Kyrie, it's Ant, it's Booker,
Yeah.
and then maybe if you want to squeeze another one in there, you could throw a Harden.
Yeah,
Or maybe a John Morant. But then
cool
if you're
with
not
that,
putting John
but-
there, Jaren Jackson has to be a forward then. Because you can't not give Memphis. I'm usually not in
No,
favor of like
Ja
delegating
has
all-stars by
to.
teams, but Memphis absolutely has to have an all-star.
I mean,
Like,
you
there's no-
almost have to have both of them in there, bro. I feel like I just feel like Sabonis to me, bro, he
I
cannot
don't
get
know. Is
snubbed.
Sabonis the odd man out? Like, I know he's leading in rebounding. I know he is, but like,
Bro,
when
he's
you're
averaging
competition is-
21. Look at it, 21 points per game, 14.6 rebounds, 6.5 assists, shooting 48% from 3. He cannot be left out this year. He cannot,
can't,
bro.
Yeah, I'm probably
He
just
can't.
falling victim to the
He
Sabonis.
can't. If they leave him out this
Yeah.
year, bro, the NBA is just horrible to some of these smaller market teams. There's no way, bro. Yeah, I agree. He should have been last year too.
Let's not act like there's not other deserving forwards in there. Like if he loses out, it's going to be to Anthony Davis, Wemby, and Jaren Jackson.
I'm dropping Jaren Jackson off that.
Okay, then Ja has to be a guard.
I agree. I'll take that.
Then who are you dropping off guards? Are you dropping Booker? Then is it Booker and Ja and Kyrie? Is that the team?
We can leave on Booker. We can leave off Booker. We can leave off Booker. We can leave off Booker.
Can we really leave Booker off?
We can leave him off. I'm sorry, bro. And our Booker right now in the All-Star game. Y'all choose one. Y'all can have one. Choose one. And our Booker. Which one?
I mean, Booker's averaging 25, 7 assists.
I know, Dan, but take the emotions out. Dan, take the emotions out.
Grab an ant.
I mean, they're both at the bottom of the West, so does it really matter? I'm joking.
True. All right. Before we get out of here, Omar,
yeah.
you had something to share?
Yeah. So, okay, Dan said that Trey is 6-4 against Brunson while on the Knicks. Okay, buddy. Let's just move this.
Are you going to utilize the wonderful share stream
yes,
feature here on TV?
Yes, I am. So this is the games played between Jalen Brunson and Trae Young here. So I'm skipping over the Mavericks because this is his entire career. So we're going to skip over the Mavericks here. Last game played in 2022. Now we're at the 2022-2023 season. Hawks won this one. Knicks won with this one. Hawks won this one, 2. Knicks won this. Knicks won this. Knicks won this. Hawks won this, 3. Hawks won this, 4. Knicks won this.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you guys. I do want to say that it just came out that Fox's preferred destination is the San Antonio Spurs.
Oh my God!
What did I say? What did I tell you?
I hate the NBA.
What did I tell you?
Why can't you go to the East, bro?
What did I tell you?
We are on Spaces right now. He only listed one destination, the Spurs.
Really?
He's going!
But as of right now, that's kind of all the information out. I will hop back up if I hear more. I do want to say thank you guys
I'll
for
be there
dropping
after
and doing
this.
the show. We really appreciate you guys coming on. It's been a lot of fun to listen
We
to.
appreciate you having us, man.
Appreciate you going,
For
man.
sure.
Thank you for being our
Absolutely.
breaking news reporter today, Kate.
Yeah, for sure. No problem. I'll hopefully get some more news for you guys later on.
All right, appreciate you, bro.
Fox, yeah, so Fox is wanting to go to San Antonio.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, I wouldn't blame him. I would want to play with Wemby too. I'd want to play with Wemby. I'd want to throw lobs to him just like Chris Paul is.
But this is the total stat line, 10-7. So just want to make that clear that he's capping. But anyways,
I think that's all we got for today's episode.
Yeah,
we had a lot more on tap here, but obviously with the De'Aaron Fox news, that takes precedent. Be sure to comment down below if you made it this far where you think De'Aaron Fox will end up, whether it's going to be San Antonio, whether it's going to be maybe a more wild card team like Orlando or Minnesota, or maybe a team we didn't talk about. This is definitely going to be this might overtake Jimmy Butler as the number one headline going into the trade deadline. Maybe they'll probably share the headlines a good bit, but the fact that De'Aaron Fox is officially available and now has obviously a preferred trade destination, that's going to be something to watch out for in the coming weeks. As will be the BTB podcast returning to playback. Obviously, We're going to be here every Tuesday, 3:30 to 4:30. So we very much appreciate everyone who tuned in live, everyone who's tuning in after the fact. We will be back live on playback in a few days, I believe, on Friday for our new segment. We're going to be doing weekend game predictions. I forget exactly when we're doing that, but that will be Friday afternoon time TBD. So be sure to come back for that. Again, thank you, Playback, again, so much for having us. We're very excited to be here, to bring this show to this platform, to be able to interact with you guys live. It's pretty darn cool out here. So thank you to everyone on Playback who made this happen. And yeah, this has been me. I'm Max for co-hosts Omar and Earl. This is the BTB podcast. We're signing out. We'll see y'all in a few days. Adios.
Peace out, everybody.
Peace out, family.
Woo!